What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to rank every single game I've played so far in 2022. So a couple things to get out of the way. First, we have 11 games. This is going to be an 11-game ranking. I am not going to include two different games, and I will tell you why. Actually, technically three. First one is Pokemon Arceus, for the point that my wife played the game for about 45 hours. I watched a lot of it, but I did not play it. Second game is Life is Strange Remastered. I'm not going to include it, even though I did love it, based off of the fact that it is a remaster. I don't really think it should necessarily count. And Sniper Elite 5, I've played a little of it, but I really haven't played enough of this game to give a huge opinion on. Oh, also, Force Unleashed, Star Wars Force Unleashed on the Nintendo Switch. I also beat that to its entirety, but again, that's just a port, so these are non-games like that. So 11 games, here we go, starting at number 11. And number 11 is Trek to Yomi. I couldn't give this game a higher score than this one. I played it through its entirety. I think it's a fine game. I stand very firm on the fact that not every game needs to be a masterpiece. Not every game needs to be incredible. This game has a lot going for it in terms of the aesthetic. The gameplay is pretty okay, but the game, I don't know. I made an entire review. Actually, I think I did a review as an exclusive. If you're a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, I made a review of Trek to Yomi exclusive to that. And in that, I explained, the gameplay is fine, but it gets really choppy at times. The game has a real hard time reading, hitboxes. In fact, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen over the last several years, I think, in games. There's some camera angles in this game that are atrocious, where you literally cannot see what you're doing because the camera tries to do, different things when it's following you, moving left to right or right to left. So the game's fine. It's 4 hours, okay? It doesn't take you all that long to beat it. It was on Game Pass. I didn't spend any money on it. I think it works as that kind of game. And it's a fine game, but it's literally, in my opinion, nothing special, and that's okay. Number 10, I'm going to say Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. This game is fine. Again, fine. Fine may be a word that you hear a lot in the first couple games. I played this game to its entirety with my daughter, actually my 8-year-old daughter, and we had fun. I mean, the game's actually somewhat difficult, I think, on an 8-year-old. Maybe she should have been a little bit older, but we had a lot of fun. We enjoyed ourselves, and it's, I actually don't even have too much to say about it. It's, the levels are pretty diverse. There's enough to do in the game where it keeps you going. I think it took us maybe 9 to 10 hours, maybe a little bit more. The bosses get really in fact, the bosses literally duplicate themselves. they just repeat. Basically around halfway through the game. Again, I don't want to keep using the F word, not the swear word, the other one. So I'll just say, solid game, really nothing special, and again, not a game that's going to stick out in my mind once we get further on in the year. Number 9, I'm going to say Dying Light 2. This is a game that continues to plummet. I think I made a top 5 list a few months ago when there was maybe 6, 7, 8 games I had played. I made a top 5 list, and I think Dying Light 2 was number 5, was the last one on the list. It keeps dropping, again, not for the fact that it's a bad game, because it's not. I actually had a lot of fun. I played this game probably 25 hours. What happened with this game is, if you've been watching the channel, I'll tell you what happened. The game came out, Horizon came out, well, not in this order, Sifu came out, then Horizon, then Elden Ring, and literally I've never gone back. I played Dying Light 25 hours within maybe a week, of it being out. It was actually a lot of time I dedicated because I kind of knew that once these other games come out, unless Dying Light 2 stood out to me, it probably I wasn't gonna go back. It wasn't gonna get my attention to go back, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, there's just been game after game after game that's come out this year, and I have seen no reason for me to go back to Dying Light 2. So I know that's a weird way maybe of talking about a game. I'm not talking about, and I don't even want to. I don't want to talk about the mechanics. I don't want to talk about the story. I think it's a solid game. It's definitely solid, but it's just a game to me that made the impression on me. It didn't. It actually didn't make an impression where I kind of forget about it, and I would rather play all of these other games that have come out since instead of, and then when I am going back, I'm playing Horizon, I'm playing Elden Ring, I don't go back to play Dying Light. And I think that speaks more for itself than anything I could tell you about the actual game of Dying Light 2. Number 8, I'm going to say, is Ghostwire Tokyo, and this one's pretty close. This one I was kind of debating with Dying Light 2. Ghostwire is a tough one. It's got a lot of flaws. It's actually also kind of good. When the game came out, I got the review code. Bethesda gave me the review code, and I had said when the game came out, like, I don't know how many people are going to echo what I said. I kind of liked it, like, a good amount. I thought the gameplay was awesome. I think the elemental powers were cool. I think the kind of like Japanese cultural things they did with the story and even side quests and stuff, I thought was good. The game, it gets pretty repetitive. It's not the biggest map of all time, and you're doing the same stuff in the map. The controls are very wonky. This is a game that, to a lot of people, is flat out not going to work. Like, you're going to hate it. And then to other people, I think you're going to weirdly respect it. And that's kind of where I came down on this game. But and the story's, fine. I don't think it's anything massively spectacular, but I think this game holds up rather well. I kind of feel like this game is an underrated gem of the year. It's not like a game of the year. It wouldn't rank in a game of the year in like the last 5, 6, 7 years. Not saying anything like that, but I think it's a game that kind of went under the radar, and I think it kind of deserved more. Number 7 is Tiny Tina's Wonderland. This is a game I played with my wife. Her and I played this game. This game is tough. This game is tough to talk about because it's actually a sore spot, because I'm like 2 trophies away from platinuming it. The game screwed me over, I feel like, in that regard. So it is a tough, I don't really even want to give the game, any kind of good discussion because of that. But no, it's a solid game. It's Borderlands. And I guess the best thing to say about a game like this, or this specific game, I haven't gotten tired of it yet. That's it. I literally have not gotten tired of the Borderlands formula. I think if you have gotten tired, then this game is not for you. I think it went an okay amount in terms of the whole, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, like making up your own campaign, but it didn't go all the way. I think you could have gone further, and they didn't. But I thought, enemy variety was fine. My wife and I spent, oh my God, 35, 40. I try to bring in the times just to kind of let you guys know how much time I sunk into these games. We played a lot. I mean, every single day, we play the game 3, 4, 5 hours for several weeks. So we enjoyed it. We definitely, this is, we're past the part of the games being fine. This game is a good game. It's a good game. It has its fatal flaws if you're trying to 100% it. But if you're just playing through, with a friend or a relative or a spouse or whatever, I think you're going to have a lot of fun if you're not burnt out yet. Like I said, that's the biggest thing. If you're burnt out of Borderlands, this game won't do it. If you're not burnt out yet, which we're not, I think it's good. Number 6 is Nintendo Switch Sports. This was a last-minute buy for me. I didn't know if I was going to buy this game. I didn't think I was going to buy this game, and then we did. About 5 or so days before the game came out, we bought on Amazon, for like a physical purchase for the Switch. And again, I'm playing with my daughter. We're having a lot of fun. This is a really good game in the sports that are fun. Like, it'll never not be fun playing bowling. Volleyball is an incredible sport in this game. Badminton is actually really good, but there's some that really are let down. So I guess the thing with this game is, the reason why it wouldn't be higher is 3 out of the 6 sports are good, and 3 out of the 6 sports aren't so good. Well, I'd say 3 are like top tier. 1 is solid, that would be tennis, and then 2 aren't so good. And so, kind of an uneven game. And I guess what that really does, by the way, is just like, it limits you, right? You start the game up, and it's like, all right, well, there's 6 sports, but we really, like her and I, when we started up, we're like, all right, we're going to do these 3. We're going to do a couple games of volleyball, a couple games of badminton, we'll do 1 bowling match, and then we're done. And that kind of holds the game back, I would say. Number 5 is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I think this is kind of a good spot for it. It's a really good game. It's not the greatest game of all time. I don't know if I've come back on my opinion that it maybe is or maybe isn't the best Lego game. For, it pushed the envelope in terms of open world and the stuff that you can do, side quests and collecting stuff and all, but it pushed that in sacrifice of the story. There are some really cool story moments and the cutscenes and what you're actually doing in the story, but some of the missions are way too short. They trim them down way too much in a lot of the episodes of Star Wars, but a lot of the prequel stuff, mainly too, is like heavily shortened. So again, it's a it's an iffy game. There's a lot to love. I do love it. This is a game that I do absolutely love. I guess what I'm saying is the reason why it's not higher. It's just because I think there's some of these flaws in the game that again, they sacrifice some to make it a bigger open world and make it so that you can play the game longer. And in some ways that's good, and in some ways that's bad. I'm still not done with it. I still have a lot to do. And again, I play this with my daughter, so we kind of go in and out of this game every so often. Maybe we'll beat it this summer. Maybe we'll beat it in like 5 years because it's such a long game. But that's why it's in this spot in my list. Number 4, I'm gonna say, is Evil Dead the game, and this, the difference between 4, I guess even 4 and what's lower, and then I guess what's higher. This is like pure fun. I really, the experience I've had so far with Evil Dead has just been awesome. And I've said this before, I did a review. I've actually done like some tips and tricks guides for Evil Dead. This is the game I wanted. It's actually crazy because this is legitimately the game. You can go back. You can actually watch months ago me talking about this game, and I was hoping for something like this, and weirdly enough, we got it. It's the best of Friday the 13th and Predator, where, you feel like an apex predator as the demon, in Evil Dead. And then if you're the survivor, though, there's actually a good amount of stuff it's fun to play either. It's detailed. It's complex. The game has a lot of layers to it. It's not that simple, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to play through the game. It's got a lot of replayability. It's got, obviously, you can level up the characters and get skills and all that stuff. So there's a lot to this game. And again, it kind of did everything I wanted it to do. So I really don't have any major issues with. There's issues like small things as I'm playing that are more detailed, where it's like, because I have played so much, I kind of have these issues. But on the surface level, this is a really fun game to play with friends. Number 3, now I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you go back to watch the past videos, 3, 2, 1 are still the same. I don't think my 3, 2, 1 on this list has actually changed. Number 3 is Sifu. Number 2 is Elden Ring. Number 1 is Horizon. I think it's been that way since February, since all 3 of these games came out. Sifu is a phenomenal game. I'm so happy the game exists. It's fantastic. There's really nothing negative I have to say. For this is preference. That's all it is. Because Sifu, I don't know if I would say any of the 3 are perfect games. Like 10 out of 10, there's nothing wrong with them. But in terms of like my enjoyment playing them and how I feel about them, I really have nothing negative to say about Sifu at all. It's just that, you go to the next one, Elden Ring. Elden Ring has been a blast. I can't believe I've played Elden Ring as long as I have. I'll tweet it sometimes. I'll be like, I just passed 40 hours. I just passed 45. I'm level 100. I'll sometimes tweet these things, and I don't know if they mean anything to the people that like the tweets, but for me, every time I do it, it's kind of a lesson in, I can't believe I've gotten this far. Because as I've said before, like, if you would have told me months ago I would have done this in Elden Ring, it would have been insane. I would have thought you were insane, right? I've never made it this far in any From Software game, and that's let me learn to love it more, by actually playing it for 50 hours and getting to level 100 and defeating all these bosses, which I have never done even close in any of the other From Software games, even combined. It's let me love it more. It really has. It's opened my eyes to how good of a game this really is. So again, really nothing negative at all to say about Elden Ring either. It's just, preference. I like it more than Sifu. I don't like it as much as Horizon. So Horizon, again, has been number 1. It still is. I have a smile on my face playing this game. Now, again, none of these games are perfect. I would say Horizon isn't perfect. The story, some of the characters can get outright boring. Some of the dialogue, some of the quests, all that stuff. That really can be a snooze fest sometimes. But besides that, going around, defeating enemies, doing literally I'm closing in. I'm going for 100%. I'm going for the platinum trophy. I will get it. This one I will get, unlike Tiny Tina's. And it's just so much fun. I'm having so much fun. It is the beauty of this game is insane. It's insane how good this game looks. So I'm always blown away by that. And then again, in terms of the gameplay, it's just such a good hook. It's such a good hook to mess with the different, weapons, mess with the different arrows, with the different enemies, go for their weak points. It doesn't get old. It doesn't get, and it really, to me, it's much the same as the first one. It takes a while. Both of these games, both Horizons, I don't think are all that amazing games in the beginning. It takes 10, 15, 20 hours for the game to really start to grow. Both of them did that to me. Both of them. So I really feel strong in that assessment of them. But once that happens, I think it's a top tier game. I do. I think a lot of the stuff in this game is phenomenal. And again, right now, it's my favorite game of the year. It would be my game of the year. But there's still more. We got a lot of games in June. Obviously, the fall is going to start filling out. So we'll do this again in a few months. We'll keep going, and then we'll probably do something like this at the end of the year as well. Let me know your list if you have a list, or maybe like a top 5, top 3 if you want to shorten it down. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next video.